What's going on, High Society? Welcome back to episode 28, Sordward and Shielbert's spectacular podcast. It's your commissioner, Ryan, head coach, Boston Braviaries, joined by Dave, head coach, Reno Weezings.
Who?
And Oliver, head coach, Montreal Milotics.
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, guys? So no spoilers. No spoilers.
Okay.
Only spoiler we'll start off with is 3 out of the 4 Elite Four members are in this podcast. So we'll say that much. The one who isn't here is Zach, head coach, Charm City Charizards, the Cinderella story. But we're going to talk about championship weekend. So we're going to go over our Elite Four matches. We're going to go over the championship match that just happened today. Well, yesterday for those watching this on Monday. And then we'll talk a little bit about the future of the league before we close this one out. So a lot of exciting stuff going on here today. So yeah, we'll just hop right into the Elite Four matches, the final 4. Since Zach's not here to defend himself, Oliver, I'll just let you talk about your match against Charm City Charizards.
Oh, sure, yeah. So, playoffs was interesting for me, because I started off the regular season with 2 losses. The first one was to Charm City, and then the other one was to Paris. Both of which were my playoff matches, but in reverse. So it was kind of cool that I could prove that I could beat them this time around with more prep time. I'm trying to think. I expected a lot of this stuff from Charm City, and I had a plan, and it worked out, and that never happens. So I was really happy about that match, for sure.
Yeah. You led off really aggressively with your GMAX. So I don't know if that threw him off. So for those who didn't see, Charm City reached out to me early in the week and was like, "Hey, you want to do some practice games with me?" So I threw together what I figured your team might be, and then I brought up against him. And for those who didn't watch, he kind of didn't do very well against Oliver's pseudo team that I created, but by the last game he had a strategy that I thought was pretty good, and then he just didn't do that strategy in the actual game. So I'm hoping to get him on a podcast soon, because I want to be okay, just what changed, because I think the only Pokemon you brought, well, there were 2 that you there's only one that you brought.
Skarmory, he didn't have anything for.
Yeah, we weren't really I wouldn't say concerned about that, but I was thinking he would have enough offense to just break through it eventually. But you just kind of sat on top of him and he never switched out. The one, I forget what Pokemon he had, and you just got up all the spikes and we're just doing
it'd be a bit different if he had swapped after my first set of spikes. It would have forced a swap for me, but I think the way I built it, I think I could have swept with 1 set of spikes with Urshifu.
If he had Heat Crash and stuff on his
that's why I brought Protect, by the way. You were questioning my Protect, and I was I honestly thought he was running Fire.
Yeah, because that's usually pretty standard on Copper Roger. You usually got Grass, Fire, Steel, and then Quake or something. But yeah, I'll just have to ask him about that, because I don't know. I felt like we developed a strategy that worked good against you, but you came out guns blazing.
What would have been the strat against Inteleon? Would it have been Porygon, Eviolite?
Yeah. So basically, the strat was just get Trick Room up. So if you did what you did and he had Porygon, even a Hydro Snipe would have let Porygon live. And get off Trick Room, and then it would just die the next turn, and then he can bring in his Caparaja and start, doing whatever he needs to do from there. Like, that was the best way to kind of get around you. And that's how he kind of got back into the game, was when he did get Porygon out instead of Trick Room. It kind of let him get a couple of KOs, but by that point he had like sacked 2 of his Pokemon.
Yeah, I also had like 25% spikes. Like that's so hard to come back from.
Yeah,
and I kind of figured he didn't have a way to clear it.
So, but yeah, I mean, we'll have Zach on a podcast this off season, I'm sure, because the off season schedule will be a little easier for doing the podcast. So we'll be able to interview him about his Elite Four experience. So moving on to the other Elite Four match, you had the 2-time defending champion, Boston Braviaries, undefeated all season. The #1 top dog, the Sinister Six, the villain. Nobody could stop him. There's no Spider-Man in this league, no way. And Mr. fucking Dave, the Reno Weezings, comes slinging in. And Dave, what happened?
I think I just got lucky with a very good start with my Alcremie. I tried to think about I like the biggest counters to Alcremie, which is probably the Caesar. So it's like, how can I stop that bullet punch? It's like, well, it's priority. If I can get like a Psychic Terrain up, then he won't be able to hit me with that. And it was like the only real safe, and that is the case for a lot of teams. But like Alcremies are actually a really safe like start, because not many people run too many like steel or poison moves, and even if they do, I can usually G-Max and counter with like some sort of obliterating move of some sort. The Psychic was to cover everything but Zeraora, or not Zeraora, Zoroark, the other Z, and it KO'd the Komao, and I got lucky in that Psychic Terrain isn't all that common, so
yeah,
kind of
I always
that
forget
part.
that's there, because it's like you can barely freaking see it.
You barely see it, yeah.
So it doesn't like flash out like the electric terrain with all the electricity bounce around the grass. You see all the grass and stuff, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that was out there. I forgot about that 2 turns ago.
I think I got a little lucky is all.
Your lead, Dave. That was a very aggressive lead on your part, and I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, you were expecting Corsola or something.
Yeah. I was like,
or hazards of some sort.
Yeah. I was expecting you to bring Corsola, but you didn't. And then, yeah, I was expecting. I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't the G-Max right off the bat. I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really switch in anything super safely here.
Right, exactly.
But, yeah, so, and then at the end, I guess there was one way I could have maybe come back. So in the last one, yeah, if I had Volt switched out and then tried to get a little bit of damage on you with the Tentacruel, like that would have been like a slog fight between the Tentacruel and the Toxapex. You would have been recovering and everything. But if I could have by some miracle, if the Tentacruel could die with you with like 25% damage, so like somewhere around 70% health left, I would have a chance to kill you coming back in. But yeah, and then I had
Obstagoon. Obstagoon or Sphere, yeah.
Yeah, would kill. But that's like a lot of what ifs, and obviously that didn't happen because I tried to get cheeky and taunt you, which I don't even know why I did that, because I was expecting you to go with Baneful Bunker, so why shouldn't I just do a special attack? But
Baneful Bunker would block the time anyway, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it was like, why would I even go for that? But,
yeah, we all make silly mistakes in the middle of the.
When you think of stuff, and we had to restart our game because we had a winter storm and I lost power for like half a second, so it disconnected us. So we had to.
I noticed, by the way, I looked back if the Zeraora was actually at the health it was before, the Avalanche definitely would have killed.
Yeah, probably. That was because I had the reflect up.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so that's the Elite Four. The champ gets knocked out. Finally, a new head will wear the crown. So we got the finals between the Reno Weezings, unwavering, unfaltering, the wall against the darkness, going up against the reverse sweep, picked up the season MVP Urshifu, and just didn't lose, making it to the finals. Oliver and the Montreal Milotics. So, guys, I'm just gonna let you kind of like talk this out. So, kind of go over game one. Game one's kind of a mess for those who want to watch it because we tried live streaming and the lag was just horrible. But yeah, why don't you guys just go through the game? So let's start with game one here.
So it was a bunt cake opening. What did I lead with? I don't even know. I think I led with Urshifu, and then I U-turned into my Orbeetle, which set up a light screen while you were.
I was thinking about that. I was like, I could max flare here, but like the only thing that would take the max flare well is the Orbeetle. So I'm like, man, I'll just go with a safe.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be the Orbeetle.
Yo, but I think starting off with the Alcremie is very, like, I didn't have anything for it, and I wanted something for it, and I had plans, right? My first set with Orbeetle had a Choice Scarf and Trick, and I thought he was going super full stall, and there was some stall, but my Orbeetle kept dying before he could get the Trick up, and then my other Orbeetle, that second game, whatever, and sorry, I lost where we were.
Yeah, so you switched into Orbeetle.
Yeah, and then the Orbeetle basically just like took hits. And then afterwards, with the screens up, I felt more comfortable setting up with my Hatterene. And once again, like my prep for the finals, I honestly thought you weren't bringing too many physical attackers except for Drapion. Diabolog threw me for a loop. And that said, Drapion also gave me trouble, just because I didn't really have like any good mashups for it.
Yeah,
maybe I could have done something with Urshifu. Yeah, but I don't know. I was so scared of you swapping to defensive against Urshifu that I in the back of my mind, I kept wanting to like, I'm gonna save Urshifu until it gets clear. And then I think I swapped to Intelli, or I passed. I don't know if it was one Calm Mind or two Calm Minds. Yeah, I passed 2 Calm Minds to Inteleon, who hadn't been Gmax yet. And then it did some work then. But I also didn't get enough info on kind of like the builds of your team because of it. And that would kind of like, there's just like the mystery. Like, what does this Avalug do?
Yeah, I should have brought him out earlier. I totally forgot that, or I didn't even know that Inteleon's Gmax thing ignores abilities. So that countered my Puku there. So I was like, oh, okay, I can stall him out, but it's like, oh shit, well now I gotta bring out Avalug. That's like my only option right now. And like, that's 4 Pokemon down or so.
Yeah. And before you brought out Avalug, Dave, you had your Salazzle.
Oh yeah.
Got KO'd too, so.
I thought maybe Salazzle's faster.
Yeah, how did it? It had a sash, but I think I had Hail Up from.
You had the Hail Up, which is how it.
I honestly, I did not expect the Salazzle, and going forward, I think me trying to play around the Salazzle hurt me. So just its presence in the future games was such a threat that it changed my playstyle completely. But yeah, so like my Inteleon was I didn't put anything in speed. It's timid, but I put all special defense, all HP, because Once again, I was of the mindset that I was just like, okay, there's gonna be like special attackers installed.
I was afraid of. Yeah, I was surprised that the Alchemy wasn't doing more damage. Like, this must be a weird.
Yeah, and I messed up too. I had a bit of insomnia last night, and I was tweaking my teams late. And I put an assault vest, obviously, because I was like, yeah, bulky. And then for some reason I was just like, focus energy, so I can max guard, and I can't even use it. Like, so I only had 3 moves on that Inteleon, and it was I was so happy with this version of the Inteleon that I put it in all 3 teams I prepared. So I was just like, oh well. But it worked out in the end. Yeah, the first match, a lot of the work was done by the double calm 9 baton pass into Inteleon, and then I don't remember the tail end, but it was a lot of cleaning up, I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember how it kind of ended.
Oh yeah, there was you had 2 Pokemon left. You had Toxapex and Drapion, both of which I think my Hippowdon handled. That said, I got super lucky with fissures. Because I was setting up Yawns. I didn't set up Stealth Rocks because I mean there were only 2 Pokemon left, and I figured like there wouldn't be that much switching and it wouldn't have gotten too much value. And sorry, the late night preparation, even though it may or may not have worked out, I didn't PP max the fissure on Hippowdon. So when I was clicking fissure, I was just fishing for 1 kill. And then I think I had like 4 Pokemon left at that point that I was just like, okay, Poltegeist can take care of Toxapex, or Shifu can either trade or get Drapion really low. But I mean, I got super lucky with the fissures. I hit 2 out of 3, so can't complain.
Yeah. And before we move on to game 2, I wanted to point out that you know, even though Baton Pass is legal in our league, and you know it's like such a powerful thing in singles, that this is the first match I think that I've ever seen anybody in our league actually utilize it. So
I thought it was banned entirely.
There's the rule set where you can't pass speed and anything else.
Yeah.
So you either only have to pass speed, or you pass anything that's
but
not
speed. Yeah, exactly. So, but had you used Baton Pass before this season, Oliver, or was that your first time kind of having a Baton Pass set?
So I haven't played competitively since X and Y. I don't remember if I ever used Baton Pass. I don't think I did.
Yeah.
If I did, it would have been
cool
like
to see, because did the Orbeetle have Baton Pass?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, he's got a couple of them when he's out there. So Montreal takes game 1 pretty nicely after getting that early lead, and then a couple lucky fissure hits at the end. But you know, the luck didn't really matter because he had a
42. Come on, I would have had it.
Yeah. So we move on to game 2. So the way this works is, in between games, the team, they can switch whatever they want. You could have completely different natures, EVs, moves, items, Pokemon, as long as they're from your 10 on your team. That's all you need. So, Dave, I'll start with you first. Did you make any key changes from game 1 to game 2?
Well, I didn't really. I totally expected to like lose to you in the semifinals, so I didn't really have that much time to prep. I just kind of threw a general gist of what I would do against Milotics. So I didn't really have that many Pokemon. Looking back, the best change I probably could have done is maybe like swap the Avalugg and Puku for Obstagoon and Corsola, but I don't know how much that would have done. Obstagoon would have been nice offense, but Corsola only really
I prepped
walls
for Corsola
out.
hard.
Yeah. He also walls out like only Urshifu, and that's about it. So I was a little worried about him, but Obstagoon and Corsola can make a decent team because of the switch out opportunities. But the only thing I really did switching was like I put Rocky Helmet on Toxapex to help with Urshifu because I knew that if he did a Rapid Strike, he'd lose like half his health. So like I was like, because in one of the games, I forget if it was the second or the first
Surging
one.
Strikes, that would have been nutty.
Yeah, he Surging Strikes my Alcremie, and thinking back, that would have been like the perfect time to bring in the Toxapex. And I gave the Drapion Expert Belt. I was looking for, I haven't even picked up a choice band in the game, so I didn't have time to go find out where that is. So I put Expert Belt to maybe help against Hatterene, because if Hatterene had that like sliver of HP left when it baton passed, if it had been poisoned or if it had just done a little more damage, then that baton pass wouldn't have been able to go off, and things might have been different in the first game. But yeah, that I didn't really make many changes otherwise because I didn't really have that much time to prep. But I also didn't think the rest of my team was going to be that great. Like Phalanx, I don't think was going to do much against anything on his side. He just had a lot that really did well against my team. Like I really liked my Hazards. I would love to put Toxic Spikes up against his team, but that Hatterene, no matter what, is gonna stop that. I was like hoping, like, oh, maybe he sees a lot of, poison types on it. Oh, you don't want to bring a Hatterene in here, but no, that didn't turn out to be the case. But game 2 actually went better for me. I was a little surprised.
Yeah, so but before you get into that, I want to ask Oliver what changes he made from game 1 to game 2.
The big one was Orbeetle. Okay, so the big one that I want to point out is Orbeetle, but it didn't work out. The key change was it was running Light Clay instead of Choice Scarf, and it had Substitute. And the plan was I was gonna substitute each of his G-Max Alcremie's turn, and I looked it up. And it would have tanked it, and I was just like, "Yo, this is sick." But he led, and maybe I was overthinking it, but I really did not think he would lead with Alcremie all 3 times. And I was just like, because otherwise I would have opened with Orbeetle and then done the stuff. But I guess maybe I overthought it, where no, there's no way, but once again, this is the game of not blinking. And he just didn't blink. So I opened with Inteleon. I probably should have swapped in hindsight, but I think it worked out because I think he was expecting me to swap, so he didn't Gigantamax right away.
I didn't expect Hydro Strike to do so much against my special Alcremie. That's all. I just didn't do the calcs beforehand, and so I figured Alcremie would take it better than it did, but when I saw the amount of damage that it did, I was like, oh, I better G-Max now. So it was a bit late, yeah.
I was surprised that it survived the second one.
Yeah, that I was upset about that. You didn't hear me.
The first one seemed like it did a lot.
Maybe the first one high rolled and the second one low rolled.
Yeah,
that was like that. Game, I guess.
So I was like, wow.
And then, for the other changes to my team, I swapped off Hippowdon with Skarmory. It was really just for variety. I wasn't sure which team would have done better. And also, I wasn't sure if he was swapping, so I didn't really want to give him the opportunity to counterpick Hippowdon somehow. And then another thing that didn't work out was I had my Mienshao, and this was supposed to be a Swords Dance Baton Pass into Urshifu, but he still had the Salazzle, which outspeeds my Urshifu, and I just didn't have the opportunity for it. And Baton. The problem with Baton Pass is it's good for planning ahead, but if it doesn't work out, then it's just I have a Mienshao that can knock stuff off, I guess.
Oh, so that was its only attacking move?
Oh, it had a knockoff return, the usual stuff, close combat. Yeah. Or maybe not close combat. It had Swords Dance, close combat knockoff. and Baton Pass.
Um,
I did the math, and if I got any kind of terrain, Sword Stance or Shifu could have swept. But once again, the Salazzle kind of like threw a loop for that. And I think that was, and me not having, who did I swap for? I think I didn't have Hatterene at that point, or Poltegeist. I didn't have Poltegeist at that point. So the fact that he could rapid spin freely, my like spikes, I didn't really know how to handle it, and I was hoping he would try to like outplay, and I was just like, spikes, come on, maybe he'll try something else, and then he's gonna get greedy and like rapid spin 3 spikes instead of, but it didn't work out.
So Dave, walk us through the rest of Game 2 there. Kind of tell us what happened with Game 2. Were you able to tie it back up, or?
Yeah, well, it started off kind of poorly because I expected Alcremie to do a little more to just kind of stall out the G Max, but at some point, I forget what happens right after that, but at some point he brought out Skarmory, and he hadn't put any hazards up yet. So I figured this is like, because I figured that he was gonna start like spiking or something. So I figured this is the perfect time to bring in Salazzle. This is like the only other maybe sweeper I have on my team. So I got up the Nasty Plot, and Salazzle's pretty fast, so I figured, oh, maybe I can do something here. But I didn't expect Mineshaw, or I'm not sure. I didn't expect it to be faster, but my Salazzle is also, it's modest, not plus speed, so
yeah, mine was like
if it were plus speed, maybe it would have outsped the Mineshaw, but
yeah, that can make a big
that kind of threw a wrench in my plans, but also the focus sash. But then the Rocky Helmet somehow took out the Mineshaw, and magically through the whole 1-to-1 with Avalugg and Skarmory, the Whirlwind brought out like the one Pokemon.
Yeah, I low rolled that. That was, you only had like 4 Pokemon, and that was the one I was just like, okay, as long as it doesn't bring out Salazzle, this is okay. I could get 1 Spikes up, and then he would have, I could have done something to maybe like set up while you're trying to rapid spin.
If it weren't Salazzle, I think I might have been screwed from there on, but because of Salazzle, I was able to kill the Skarmory, I was able to kill the Hatterene, which I was a little surprised. I didn't expect it to one-shot the Hatterene, and it burnt the Urshifu. I was really torn between just sludge bombing the Urshifu and burning him, but I was like, he could still kind of walk away with this if somehow, like, I mean, because he outspeeds everything.
As soon as you did that, I was just like, oh, yep, no, he got it.
Yeah, and then he conceded there, because I don't think anything could have broken through my Toxapex at that point. Or, I had Drapion too.
Yeah, the Thunder Punch damage wasn't doing anything to Toxapex at that point.
And somehow it still had its Rocky Helmet on? That was weird to me.
Because Mienshao died from it when it knocked it off, when it used knockoff, so it didn't knock off the item.
Weird.
Like Rocky Helmet's weird.
I never knew about that interaction. Okay.
Yeah, if you die while trying to knock
I don't think it would have mattered anyway, because like a burning Urshifu is a sad Urshifu.
Yeah, you just keep clicking recover, and it doesn't matter at that
It'll
point.
die eventually.
Yeah. But so Reno ties it up very nicely, and then we go into this epic game of chess in Game 3. But before that, Dave, did you make any changes between Game 2 and 3?
No, I didn't. I couldn't really think of anything because I didn't really want to bring Corsola in. I figured he would prep for it, and I figured it wasn't really good against anything but the Urshifu, and Obstacoon was there. maybe I should have brought Abscoon. That's the only thing I'm thinking back on. Like, I should have maybe brought Abscoon instead of Puku. But I like Puku and Avalok for the possibility of, like, mirror coding something, because I know a lot of his offensive threats for me were special. So, but
I think Obstium could have been good, and I think getting a choice scarf onto something would have been good. Just mix up like your speed tiers. After 3 games, you start kind of like realizing speed patterns. So putting a scarf onto something different or incorporating that can throw a wrench in people's, calcs like that.
I got to play more competitive. I feel like I never really respected the choice stuff as much as I probably, because I was watching your games when I was prepping for our fight. I was like, wow, he puts choice stuff on a lot of Pokemon. Maybe I'm devaluing or something, and so maybe that'll come in time when I get more practice, I guess.
Yeah, I think as the last match suggested, like you just swap a lot. Like,
yeah, it's really,
especially since we both had info on each other's folks. Like I went back to my original team. I did have a third team prepped, but I think I kind of figured like the first one won.
First game went so well, yeah.
Just run it back. But obviously it's a completely different game since we both know what, or most of what each other have brought. So
I know I was afraid of the Poltergeist exactly for the rapid spin block. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm hoping
like okay, well, I can set up now.
Yeah.
That said, there were a lot of turns dedicated to just keeping the rocks on the field.
Yeah.
And was that like half the match?
Yeah.
I know. It's really too bad with that 20-minute timer, really keeping things, like, we could have probably gone a while. It probably would have been a slow peter out on my end, but I don't know. That 20-minute timer seems so dumb for 66 singles.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully Game Freak, patch it. Jesus
Yeah.
Christmas. This is the first game that you've ever limited us, and we're on the most powerful hardware you've ever worked with, and you're limiting us.
It's just server limits, right? They don't want people to like
Yeah, I
the
think
same
that's the
instance
thing.
for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
But then make the limit an hour. Come on.
Yeah, like
Hour.
it doesn't have to be infinite, but
Yeah.
40 minutes, like just double it. Like,
Money's so short, yeah.
I
really
would
just
pay
invalidate-
$5 a month to have unlimited time on my custom matches. I don't care.
Yo, the chess timer thing that you brought up, I don't know when you brought it up, but like that seems like the perfect solution, right? Like chess, the oldest game in existence.
Sure.
They figured it out.
Yeah. If you do it through like local play, you can do it with a chess timer, but it's only on local play, which again is like dumb.
Yeah.
Had I known
I
about...
just have the chess timer for everything. But anyway, I can understand like on the ranked ladder, like you don't want somebody just like, well, I'm losing, I'm not playing, and then just leave it running for like an hour, never clicking anything, but
Had I known about like this 20-minute timer when it came in, because I never really played online competitive very much before this. Like, had I known about it, I definitely would have done as much of a Wally team as, because it was when I came into this league, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be memeing. So that's why initially it was like all wall Pokemon. It was basically all wall Pokemon and Pokemon that like failing Citric Ground, which just had like battle ready for some reason. And but I don't know, like going into it, I swapped out some of my walls, but like it's really too bad that some of these Pokemon like Toxapex, you can't really, like, most games on higher levels are gonna go to time, like no matter what. We weren't stalling that much.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't
we were going
stalling that
pretty
much.
fast.
It was
Or as
just,
fast
like,
as we could, right? Because we have to worry about like animations and stuff.
Swapping just takes time, and swapping is important in singles. I don't know.
yeah.
Double should be better at least.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But getting back to game 3, so after what seemed like an hour of positioning and swapping around and all this stuff, finally Poltergeist gets in a favorable position. I think it was against the
Yeah, it was against the sleeping Avalog
Yeah.
that had been yawned earlier. And then Rox was still up. So I kind of figured he wasn't going to rapid spin because I was just setting up with my Poltergeist. But I did need to get a little bit lucky with the sleep RNG. That said, I also missed the Magic Bounce Toxic, and I got randomly poisoned by the Poison Jab. So I think, even though the first game I was really lucky, it, like all of it like kind of went away.
Yeah, and so that was finally like the first quote unquote action of the game was Poltergeist.
Yeah, we were 6v6 for so long. I didn't even. I kept checking. It was like, wait, no one's fainted yet.
I know. By the time like the first faint went by, it was like 5 minutes left on the clock. Or something like that.
Yeah. So, long kind of story short. For those who didn't watch it, definitely check it out. But I think it was like the 30-second timer started. And Dave, at that point, I think you were down.
I was down like it was like 3v5, but all the 5 that he had were like countering my team. So it's like there's no way I'm getting out of this. So it's like we could roll it back and like go back to where we were, but it would have been just like a slow dwindle to defeat at that point. So it's like, yeah, I'm done. It's he conceded earlier, so I figured I'd do the same for him. I guess on the he conceded the second round, so I figured I'd share the or return the favor, I guess, or not so much
Play it
favor.
out.
But, you know,
2-hour
I
game.
feel like you could have gotten those 20 critical hits in a row and misses and everything. You know, like you didn't think that chance was there for you.
Knowing my luck with this game this season, no, not at all.
Dude, you made it to finals.
Oh,
Number 2.
yeah, I know.
You
I'm just thinking
dethroned
about
the 2-time champion.
That's
Undefeated.
true.
Not anymore.
Oh, okay. I shouldn't say I was like unlucky this season. I have been very lucky this season. I'm just thinking about like the ratio of crits I've received.
That's fair.
You always remember the crits you get against you, never the ones you give out.
I remember the ones I give out. I remember I got a. I
You're
remember I
playing
got
a wall team. Your
a crit
crits don't do a lot of
scald.
damage.
I remember I got the only crit I got on in your fight was the crit scald on your tentacruel, which did like 2 extra damage.
Yeah. But then it burned. So. But yes, so with that, Oliver, the Montreal Milotics Season 3 champion. He's gonna get a trophy. I gotta order it. He's gonna get something else too that I'm not telling anybody until it comes in.
Mystery prize.
Yeah, a little mystery prize. Oliver, how's it feel having the Season 3 title?
It feels pretty good, especially since I started off with the 2 losses. I don't know. I guess I had to learn a lot since I've been out of it since X and Y. Like I had to learn up on like I learned up on Z moves even though they weren't a thing. Just because. But the terrains that I had no idea what terrains were. And then that kind of costed me like the first game, I think. And also like early on I was like mixing up Let's Go easy moves. With like max moves, because they're basically max moves. Let's be real.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah, those moves are OP.
Sparkly swirl.
But yeah, I think I started prepping for stuff more. And even when things didn't work out, like the fact that I made like the active decision to start like, okay, this is the team that they have. What's the best team they can bring against me? And as much as I like Mothra. I started valuing speed on Gigantamax especially, just because there's always that like a potential threat of like, you know, like as soon as you bring it out, it's just like, okay, this thing can clean up.
Yeah.
And like the fact that I always had to set up Trick Room from my Butterfree, so it had like base speed 60. It wasn't like the most helpful, even though I had a lot of coverage. And Aegislash, I didn't realize when I picked it that it got nerfed. I know it's only like 20 base stat total.
Yeah, but it means a lot.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of thresholds that it doesn't break anymore, especially for like tanking stuff.
Yeah.
And also, I was really bad at guessing with Aegislash when people were gonna do stuff or switching early on. I guess I kind of just, that's the nature of coming into competitive 2 games later, 2 generations later.
2 gens later.
But yeah, I'm glad. Honestly, I'm just as surprised as you guys. Like I'm surprised I got it this far, and then like it went to like a game 3, and it was a good match.
I wouldn't say I was surprised. Like you just said yourself, throughout the season, you adapted and you analyzed your team. Like, I'm not calling out any coaches, but you see teams that just didn't do anything all season, and they're the ones who, they didn't make it to the playoffs. They didn't get far in the playoffs. They kind of just like kept their team status quo. I mean, PSG might be the outlier there, doing relatively well, bringing the same 6 Pokemon every week, but like you gotta analyze your team and see what works for you, and that's what you did early on. And right after you did that, after your first picking up the season 3 MVP Urshifu, you just ran it all the way to the title.
Yeah, no, I didn't even realize the stat. Well, one, it had like a crazy KO count for the regular
14
season
to nothing.
for only being there 6 games. And also too, it didn't faint at all until playoffs. And the only reason it fainted was because I was just like, okay, yeah, it's time to sack him. Like, sentiment's good and all, but like I came to win, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, I mean, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, Oliver. But what do you say? You gonna run it back next season?
No, sorry. I like Pokemon, but I think it was a lot of prep, and it's a lot of it's a lot of time out of my week between games. I started playing Overwatch with a new group of people. So I'm more excited about that than I am with Pokemon. So yeah, I'm not. Sorry, I'm a one-hit wonder.
Because you know what that means? It means I'm the only champ for KD.
At least it's only 2 times. That's all that matters. And it wasn't that. You don't even have me to thank for that. It's Dave.
No,
That's right.
Stopping the streak, putting brakes on the wheels.
I can at least say now I can open every podcast with not the 2-time, not the reigning champ, but the only champion in the league.
Oh no, he's just gonna have something every time.
That's all right. Maybe season 5 you can think about it in like 6 months or whatever. We'll reach out to you. You'll always be a champion in our hearts, Oliver.
Thanks.
You've always got a place in the majors if you ever want to be back. So with that said, wrapping up season 3, we will have a finals MVP vote. I'll put the link to that down below. So for those who watch the finals matches, you can vote for who you thought was the finals MVP. We'll definitely have some of Montreal in there, but we'll probably also have 1 or 2 of Reno's Pokemon. So it's thought that, the only reason Reno was even in this was because of this one Pokemon.
Yeah, it's the Salazzle. The Salazzle was always in the back of my mind. Why didn't I EV train speed one of my Inteleons? All of my Inteleons had...
I know. I was super surprised when it outsped the Inteleon. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I figured you were like, Urshifu, Inteleon. Why would I bring a fire type into a water boy match? And you brought it every time, and I just like.
Well, that's good for your other Pokemon. That's the way I saw it. Like, Katarine was like the only
yeah,
one.
That's fair.
And Skarmory, I was afraid of. Sort of. Like, if my Alcremie wasn't there for Skarmory, I don't know what else I would do for it.
So
But I found the finals interesting because throughout the whole season, I never fought a person twice. Like all the people I fought
Yeah,
in finals, I hadn't fought. In
It's
my
way
schedule before.
different because like the first game I was going for scouting stuff and also trying to win, but like I wanted to scout like what you were doing,
Sure.
especially.
yeah, best of three definitely is a lot different. So it's a lot of fun, you know, being able to make those minor adjustments and hopefully keep your opponent like on their toes. But yeah, wrapping up season 3 now, guys. A new champion crown. Takes a lot of weight off my shoulders. I tell you, I was telling my wife, I was like, but before our game with Dave, I was like, if I win this and then go to the finals and beat Oliver somehow, if I'm the 3-time, I just gotta retire. I gotta take like a season off. So I'm glad that I can come back, little chip on my shoulder, actually not like make some gimmicky theme team and kind of go all out next season. But yeah, next season's gonna be really fun. We're gonna take a few weeks off, start back up again after the holidays at the beginning of January, but we're gonna be going to doubles for season 4. We are going to be incorporating the VGC rule set, which means
4v4.
Yep, 4v4 best of 3s throughout the entire regular season. So we're going to be doing that, which I think will be a lot of fun. It'll add some more strategy and, you know, let people play with like different stuff. We should be seeing a tier list probably come out. I'm going to get one together, tier list and a rule set, and have the rules committee look at it probably by the end of this week, so that we can announce it in 2 weeks. I think that's reasonable. I can get something together, and then we can discuss it and have a couple weeks before we reveal that. But yeah, expect it to basically mirror the VGC landscape for the most part. I think that'll be good. People can practice on ranked with that. It'll be good for them to have a place to be able to practice, because there's nowhere, I mean, unless you go on Showdown to practice 6v6, and Showdown it's kind of hard because we use a battle ready clause. So you come up against people who have like moves from like Gen 5 or whatever that you can't get anymore. But yeah, and we'll be introducing the minor leagues, which is going to have its own different tier list, its own different set of rules. I'm still kind of hashing that out. I know we've thrown around the idea of not fully evolved. I'm kind of getting cold on that idea, probably much to Dave's sadness. A couple coaches have told me that they feel like they won't become better players without playing with competitive Pokemon, because it's not really like teaching them about those Pokemon, which I understand. So Dave, maybe we'll have a maybe not this off season, but maybe we'll plan something for next off season. We'll have a little cup tournament some off season here, and we'll play with that. But yeah, we got a lot of great new coaches. We're going to be having 11 new coaches joining next season, because we have to expand to 8. And as Oliver, the reigning champ, said, he will not be returning next season. We will also have Ian, head coach of Seattle Shiny Sylveons. He's going to be taking a season off. And Juan, head coach of the Worcester Delibirds, is also taking a season off, although he's going to stay involved with the like rules committee. So he's going to help us out there, especially with like the minor league sort of stuff. So he'll still be involved with the league. But yeah, I'm really excited. We got a lot of Poketubers joining the society next season, a lot of them in the majors. So we got Pokecard collector Justin's going to be joining. We got Scraggy Pants, if you're familiar with him. He'll be joining in the majors, in the minors, excuse me. We got the Pokeballers, they'll be joining in the majors. We got Skaz Down Under, he'll be joining in the minors. Real Pokemon Joe is joining in the minors. Chris Elanius, who was on one of our past podcasts, big in Pokemon Go, He'll be joining the minors. So we got a lot of Poketubers joining, which will definitely help grow the league. It'll get us more videos to watch. So that's really exciting. I know a lot of people who weren't recording this season are looking into recording for next season. So I'm excited to have even more videos. Maybe I can get people to commentate over their own matches. That'll save me some time. We'll see. I'm not betting on it, but you know, that'd be nice. I'm willing
trash
to
talk in there.
I'd do it if
let's-
I got
Oh.
cap price. Like, these are pricey, but we'll see.
Well, I told you could get the there's one that's just like a flash drive. Just reach out to Andrew, head coach PSG. He posted about it, but you know, you could just take it, save it to the flash drive, and then put it on your computer and, you know, edit it over there with something, with a voiceover or whatever you want to do. But yeah, so season 4 gonna be a lot of fun. Oliver, I'm gonna let you, as the reigning champion, send us out here. Take whatever time you need. What are your final words to the society this season? Do you want to thank anybody? Do you want to, you know, any shout outs, friends, family who helped you on this journey?
No, I did it all myself. Let's be real. Look at the one-time only champion. No, I want to thank everyone part of the league, just because this was such a blast. So I'm the main reason I'm not doing it is just because I want to spend my free time doing more things. Now that I've experienced it, sorry, I used you guys. I was just like, I didn't play Sword
Now
and Shield
that I'm
enough.
the champ, I'm done with you.
No, I didn't play Sword and Shield enough. And then Ryan reached out, hey, you want to join the league? And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll get my 40-hour playtime up. Because I pretty much just like went through the game, and then I actually didn't buy the expansions until I was part of the league. So it was nice to like feel like I really delved in, I guess, to the Pokemon competitive meta, sort of, in at least our little league. I don't really I still really like Pokemon. I just also really like a bunch of other things. And I just want to experience more that life has. So I know it's sad that it's a one-off.
That's going to be this next month, Oliver. Don't worry. Now that I don't have to prep for any games and that stuff, I can actually just like play my PlayStation for once. You know?
Yeah, no, I'll definitely, the PS5 just came out, and I just realized I only beat like 10 games on it, and I was just, sorry, that seems like a lot, but it's not. Like, I remember having a PS3 and like, so many games I've played. Just the reality of getting older, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to put the Pokeball down. Anyway, stay classy, society. What do you do?
Stay classy. Dave, do it. Stay classy. All right. Thanks, guys.